Right now at 6, a local shop is putting on classes to teach people on how to properly maintain their cars.
And we've got a clear but cold start across the area, and it is a bit on the breezy side as well. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, Freeman Health System in Joplin holds a walk in honor of National Kidney Month.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It's a Monday morning across the area.
It's feeling like it.
It certainly is feeling like it. We've had some Monday occurrences in the studio so far.
Very large spider. Paid us a visit.
He did, but thankfully Trevor was able to take care of that problem.
Thank you, Trevor.
He's our resident exterminator. See, he took care of a wasp that was in here a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, did he now?
Yeah. It managed. It was attracted to one of the studio lights after it stopped dive bombing us, and he was able to take care of that problem for us.
Way to go, Trevor.
Trevor saving lives. He doesn't even realize it.
The 4-state hero.
He is. Well, I have bad news. It's going to be pretty chilly today. It was chilly over the weekend. It's going to be a little colder today, but it will eventually warm up. Let's take a quick look outside. This is our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin, and we've got clear skies, but it is cold, and as you can see by the flags on City Hall, it is breezy out there as well. North winds occasionally gusting upwards of 20. MoDOT camera on 20th and Range Line, looking back to the north, looking pretty good, and it's a little harder to see at night, but you can tell it's been swaying just a wee bit in that breeze out there. Right now it is 28 in Joplin, 28 in Pittsburgh. So it is relatively cold out there this morning. Temperatures around the region for the most part upper 20s, but the further south you go, we do get a few low 30s out there. But boy, it is a cold start to this March day out there. Doesn't feel like March at all. We'll have clear skies when the kids get on the bus this morning. 26, north breeze 5 to 10 with those occasional gusts upwards of 20. We'll see a few more gusts upwards of 20 later. North breeze 10 to 15. Still sunny, 42 when the bus brings them home. And our temperatures today not going to be much better than that. We're talking low to mid 40s for the most part, but at least as I've mentioned, it'll look warm. Sunny skies out there, and we'll have those occasional north winds gusting to 20 miles an hour. Now the winds will shift out of the southwest as we head into the overnight hours, so even though it's still going to be cold tonight, it's going to usher in some warmer temperatures, and we'll look at all of that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes.
All right, thanks, Chris. Missouri authorities say a semi-truck driver was injured after a turkey went through his windshield, causing him to crash. It happened around 1 p.m. Wednesday on I-44 near Sarcoxie. Witnesses say the truck went into the median with a large hole in the windshield. The driver suffered moderate injuries and was taken to the hospital. Highway Patrol officials say it's a good reminder to keep an eye out for turkeys as they start to get on the move. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Yesterday was the last day of the Neosho Gun Show. According to the NRA, gun shows are widely attended by Americans interested in firearms for defensive purposes, hunting, sports, recreation, and historical significance. We spoke with one vendor in Neosho about what he and the show itself were able to offer.
Basically anything that has to do with the Second Amendment or that type of activity, outdoorsmanship, hunting, whatever, you're going to be able to find here at a gun show. Anything from knives to clothing to foods to boots we have here.
The event kicked off on Friday and ended yesterday afternoon at 3 p.m. Higher Power Garage in Joplin is putting on classes to teach people on how to properly maintain their car. The class goes over different types of oil and fluid your car uses, as well as the parts of your engine you should be checking on a regular basis. Those who attended were able to interact with a certified mechanic and get a more in-depth look into the inner working of your car.
The reason why we do this is because we've seen a real problem with kids coming up and not really knowing how to maintain the car. They get taught how to put gas in it and how to drive it, but they really don't ever get taught how to check the oil or do maintenance schedules or anything like that.
These classes happen every month and they're free of charge. Higher Power Garage does ask that you register ahead of time before attending. Yesterday, people in Joplin got into the St. Patrick's Day spirit one step at a time. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on how the March of the Kidney lets people be festive while supporting a good cause.
People gathered at the North Park Mall in Joplin, but they were more than just mall walkers. They came to participate in the March of the Kidney, an annual event hosted by Freeman Health System.
The March of the Kidney is an event that we do to honor the patients that have passed from kidney disease, to celebrate those who are currently on dialysis, and to raise funds and awareness about kidney disease and dialysis.
March is National Kidney Month. According to the Center of Disease Control, more than 37 million Americans suffer from a chronic kidney disease. For participants at the march, the cause hits close to home.
My mother was on a kidney patient here about 10 years ago, and a very good friend of mine, Campy Benson, just recently passed away, who was on dialysis for the last 10 years. So it's in honor of him and my mother that I'm walking today.
Emily Gilbert donated a kidney to her close friend Caleb. She says raising awareness about kidney disease is important.
These sorts of events are important because some people don't really know about kidney disease. I think a lot of people need a lot of education, and once they know about it, it's better to spread awareness and help others.
And for people like Greg Dickey, who has been on dialysis for the past 7 years, the march also offers an opportunity to meet with people going through the same thing.
And it's nice to see people that's had transplants and stuff like that. It's very interesting to talk to them.
It's cathartic in a way. It's helpful for those who have maybe have people suffering or have lost to come together and to support and heal each other.
While the March of the Kidney may seem like it's just a 1-mile walk, to those who attend, it's so much more. Reporting in Joplin, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
This was the 10th year for the March of the Kidney event. Proceeds from the march stay in the area and go towards kidney patients to help cover their treatment costs. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The FTC is looking into Reddit's plan to license its platform content to artificial intelligence companies. Plus, President Biden turns his focus out west with multiple stops in several states planned for this week. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Monday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Stopped working, I decided to call the pros at Pascal. With Pascal Pay at Pascal, take advantage of up to $300 off a professionally installed and supplied water heater. Schedule now at gopascal.com.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, Reddit says the Federal Trade Commission is looking into the company's plan to license its platform content to artificial intelligence companies. The social media company made the disclosure Friday in a securities filing. It comes ahead of Reddit's long anticipated initial public offering almost 20 years after its launch. It will be the first social media platform to go public in years. Reddit says it does not believe it has violated U.S. consumer protection law. The company has a deal worth a reported $60 million per year to share its platform data with Google in order to train the tech giant's AI models. JP Morgan Chase has been fined $348 million for failing to properly monitor the trading activities of its clients and businesses. The hefty penalty is a combination of fines issued by the Federal Reserve and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Regulators say the monitoring lapses occurred between 2014 and last year. They also say JP Morgan failed to monitor trades across 30 different platforms and venues. Regulators use that trading data as a way to prevent insider trading and market manipulation. A JP Morgan spokesman says the bank self-identified the issue and notified regulators. The spokesman also said there was no evidence of employee misconduct or harm to customers or the wider market. The judge in Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial in Manhattan has agreed to delay the trial for 30 days from Friday. However, the judge also set a pretrial hearing for March 25th, which is the day the trial was supposed to begin. The hearing will address the tens of thousands of documents the Justice Department turned over to Mr. Trump's legal team this month. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg had previously said he would support a 30-day delay so Mr. Trump's legal team could review the new material. However, the former president's lawyer had argued that they needed at least 90 days. Bragg says most of the documents are not related to the case against Mr. Trump. The judge has indicated the trial will begin on April 15th, pending a different decision following the hearing. Well, today, President Biden turns his focus out west with multiple stops in several states planned for this week. It comes as his likely 2024 GOP opponent, former President Donald Trump, is facing criticism over the tone of his rally speech in Ohio over the weekend from Mr. Biden and even some of his fellow Republicans. Meanwhile, a former Trump ally is doubling down on his decision not to publicly endorse him for president. CBS News correspondent Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
I won't be endorsing Donald Trump this year.
Former Vice President Mike Pence told CBS Face the Nation why he won't publicly back his former boss, Donald Trump, for president.
I see him departing from the mainstream conservative agenda that has defined the Republican Party over the last 40 years.
It came a day after Trump rallied in Ohio, telling the crowd there will be a bloodbath if he doesn't win the election, and referring to those jailed in connection to the January 6th insurrection as hostages.
That's what they are, as hostages. They've been treated terribly and very unfairly.
The former president was criticized for those comments and these, which stoked fears of possible criminals crossing the southern border.
Well, in some cases, they're not people, in my opinion. These are animals, okay?
The general tone of the speech is why many Americans continue to wonder, should President Trump be president?
President Biden said during Saturday's off-camera gridiron dinner to embrace the January 6th insurrectionists pose the gravest threat to our democracy since the American Civil War.
We celebrate the friendship between two great nations.
Yesterday, President Biden hosted the Irish Prime Minister at the White House for St. Patrick's Day. Today, he begins a multi-day trip out west with stops planned in Nevada, Arizona, and Texas. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Voters in another handful of states, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, and Kansas, will head to the polls tomorrow. Former President Trump is expected to cast his primary ballot in his new home state of Florida. Both Mr. Trump and President Biden last week surpassed the required number of delegates to become their party's presumptive nominees. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Now here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, quick look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and you can see we've got a few clouds out to our west, and we may see a stray cloud here or there, but we're otherwise looking at sunny skies. Our camera 7th in range line, we are clear, but we are cold across the area, and we've got a relatively chilly day out there as well, with highs only in the low to mid 40s, but it will be sunny at least. We'll have another complete look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Have you heard that you can save up to 90%?
We have Lori Horton back in the studio today to teach us how to make her version of zebra cakes. Good morning, Lori.
Good morning.
I'm feeling so nostalgic looking at these right now.
It's so fun. We all love Little Debbie,
Yes.
and you know the zebra cakes are always a favorite. What we're going to do today is kind of make a little bit more of a grown-up size.
Okay, I
and
can
just an
get on
at-home
board
version.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're delicious. It's really all about getting that filling just perfect.
Okay.
And then dipping them in some chocolate. So all we did to start out with was make a very simple box cake mix. And you can use a traditional white, French vanilla, kind of your preference. I think the French vanilla is the closest to the authentic zebra cake. So I started with that, and all I did was bake this in a thin jelly roll pan. So this is like a 12 by 18 pan.
Okay.
You want to spray the bottom with our baking spray that we use a lot. Very handy, kind of keeps it a little bit less messy. and then line the bottom of the pan with parchment paper. And what that does is make it really easy to get those small pieces off the bottom.
So you want to spray and line it as well?
Spray it and line it. So it just makes it super easy. And then what I baked this for was about 15 minutes because you'll see it's super thin.
Right.
Okay, so this is very, very
That's not
skinny.
that much time at all. It's super easy.
No, it was just about perfect too. You get a light golden edge and just that thin layer.
Okay.
Then if you want to really go authentic, zebra cakes are always a hexagonal shape.
Yes.
So I've got a cookie
Classic
cutter.
shape, yes.
Classic. And just cut out my small pieces of cake with that. It's a little easier. If you really let it chill, you can even pop this in the freezer for a little while.
Yeah.
Makes it really fun. But if you don't want to waste all that extra cake and you want to get a few more pieces out of there, you can just cut these into squares.
Yeah.
And make them a little bit smaller for
whatever
the
you
kids.
want to do.
It's really whatever you want to do. If you want to get fancy, use any shape you want, but keep it a simple shape, because once we get these all cut out and we've got them chilled, we're actually going to slice them in half.
Oh, okay.
So if this were a really narrow shape or a really complicated shape, it's not going to go well.
If you had a star or something, there'd be like tips falling off.
Yeah, if you think you're going to make these into little animals or
that's
something.
a great note.
Yeah, just want to keep it very simple. And then just very gently take this across there and we're going to slice it into 2 layers.
So it's going to be 2 really
It's
thin
going to be
pieces.
2 very thin pieces, because what we want to make sure we have is that filling in the middle. So what you have to get is a good layer of that, a little cake on the top and bottom.
Those
it seems really skinny, but
perfect.
once you get them put together, it's just about spot on, and then we'll coat them at the end. So what we do is we're going to start with this. We're going to get our pieces all cut up. When we come back, we will talk about the filling. It's very simple ingredients: butter. The magic ingredient is marshmallow cream.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So if you've ever been wondering,
I didn't
how
even
do
know
we get
that.
that creamy filling in there?
Well, Laura's got the
There's
secrets for us
There's a few
today.
other things, and we'll do that in our second segment. But that is really the secret to keeping a creamy filling, and it really gives it that flavor that you think of when you think of Little Debbie. So.
Wonderful. Well, stick around. We'll be right back.
Is sponsored by Integris Health, with hospitals in Miami and Grove. Integris Health, partnering with people to live healthier lives.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:23 now on this Monday morning here in the 4 states. And we are clear, we are cold, we are a bit breezy. North winds occasionally gusting to 20 miles an hour. Of course, this is our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline, looking pretty good. Again, it's swayed here and there with those wind gusts out there. And the KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh on 69, also looking pretty good. But as we've mentioned before, the one thing the cameras can't tell you is just how cold it is. But thankfully, we have other technology for that purpose. We're sitting at 28 in Joplin. Northwest breeze at 8 is making it feel like 20 out there, so a very cold start for us across the area. I know some kids are in spring break now. Some were in spring break last week when it was a little more spring-like, but at least today, it certainly doesn't feel like spring break. Mid to upper 20s for most of us across the area. Still have some low 30s hanging on across parts of northeastern Oklahoma and into northwestern Arkansas out there. As we get our morning underway, we're going to have those clear skies, occasional north wind gusts upwards of 20 miles an hour. And as you can see, we are slow to warm out there. 33 by 11 o'clock this morning. That's a hint of things to come for today, at least. It'll be sunny. We'll have those occasional wind gusts, and we'll eventually make it into the low to mid 40s out there for our highs. So that sun is going to be a bit deceiving. It'll look a lot warmer than what it really is. Now, those gusty north winds will continue through the evening, as will the clear skies. And then overnight, it's another cold one, back in the low 30s, maybe some upper 20s. However, the southwest breeze kicks in overnight, and that'll start to bring in some much warmer air for us as we head into our Tuesday. 70, still breezy though, but it'll be a southwesterly wind. Sunny skies, a great spring day out there. Wednesday, however, will be partly cloudy, upper 60s, not bad. And by the evening, start to see a few shower chances roll in. These showers will continue all the way into Monday of next week. Our temperatures are going to be fluctuating a bit between the mid-50s and the mid-60s out there based on the rain and just how much sunshine we can see in between those showers. We'll get a brief pause from the rain maybe on Tuesday, and then we'll see additional showers as we head into Tuesday evening and into Wednesday across the area. area, and that does keep our overnight lows a bit chilly some nights, so we could fall back into the 30s out there. But otherwise, all in all, not that bad, and we do get some much needed rain. That is a check of your forecast. Now here's Elise with Health Watch.
Well, free school meals help prevent childhood obesity. A study published in Pediatrics looked at schools with a universal free meal policy. They found schools that participated had a 2% decrease in childhood obesity compared to non-participating schools. Researchers say that's because school lunches tend to be more nutritious than meals eaten outside school. Making sure kids from low-income communities stay active could save hundreds of thousands of lives and billions of dollars. A study published in JAMA Network found there are disparities in physical activity among young people in low-income communities. Fixing those disparities could avert 383,000 cases of obesity and 101,000 weight-related disease, potentially saving $15.6 billion in healthcare costs. Temporary, very low-calorie diets are safe for certain teenagers, but only when supervised by a doctor. An Australian study found that for teens with moderate to severe obesity, an 800-calorie-a-day diet, which includes meal replacements, can help, but experts say that kind of diet should only be done for a few weeks and only with the supervision of a medical professional. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back.
Months on some of our favorite Toyota models. Toyota, let's go places.
Right now at 6:30, coffee lovers and local artists spend the day at the Root Coffee House painting class.
And we've got a cold and breezy start to the day. We'll see a little more sunshine later, but not so much in terms of warmer temperatures. We'll have a look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, some local four-staters had the opportunity to shop for some new jewelry at a pop-up shop in Galena.
The 4 States Most Watched News starts now.
Good morning, 4 States, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner, so it's a little bit on the cold side out there this morning.
A bit chilly.
I haven't had to wear my coat for a while, and I really was debating, I'm like, do I really want to grab it?
I wore a coat today.
Yeah.
It was a little bit cold.
Yeah, a little bit on the cold side. So you folks at home, you definitely want to grab a jacket before you head out the door. And really, you're going to need it when you get off work, too, because it's not going to be much warmer later today. Doesn't feel like spring at all. Yeah, me too. I don't even know if I want to show you guys the forecast, because some of you are going to be like, you know what, just tell us when it gets good. And if that's the case, I'm going to go home, go back to bed, because it will be better tomorrow. But I know some of you need to know exactly what to expect for today. You need to make sure that you are prepared, and that's what we're here to do. Let's take a quick look outside. This is the MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, looking back to the north. Bit on the breezy side out there. We've had some winds gusting out of the north, upwards of 20. Regardless of the gusts, it has been feeling quite cold out there. It is 28 in Joplin right now, 28 in Pittsburgh, and we've seen wind chills back into the lower 20s across the area with this north wind across the region as well. Temperatures for the most part mid-upper 20s out there. A little further south, it's a wee bit warmer into the low 30s. We've got 32 Miami and Grove is the warmer spots out there. So not a very good start to the day at all. Now I know some kids had spring break last week. It was very spring-like last week. It'll be okay this week as well for some kids going to spring break starting today, but it's not going to feel like it so much today. Sunny skies for those that are back in school, 26. North breeze at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And when that bus brings them home later, we've got sunny skies, 42 degrees, so not much of an increase out there. North breeze 10 to 15, occasionally gusting to 20 miles an hour. As we go through our day, again, it will be sunny. It will certainly look nice out there. It's just not going to feel like it. Our highs today only in the low to mid 40s, so we're actually going to be cooler today than where we were yesterday, and yesterday was pretty cool as it was. There's some good news as we head into the overnight hours. The winds are going to shift out of the southwest, and you folks at home knows what that means. It's going to start to warm up. We're going to talk about those warmer temperatures and some rain chances in the full forecast a little later. Elise?
All right, we'll check in with you soon, Chris. Well, one winery in Oronogo helped bring a little bit of Ireland to the 4 states this St. Patrick's Day. Keltoy Winery is an Irish winery that was throwing St. Patrick's Day parties this past weekend to celebrate the holiday. The event features festive decorations, Irish food, and live musicians playing traditional Irish music. Organizers of the event say it's a great way to be able to share Irish culture.
Well, Keltoy is an Irish winery, so it's got an Irish background, Irish theme, and so every year that means we celebrate St. Patrick's Day really big. And we have a 2-day celebration this year, today and tomorrow on the actual day, with everything that's green.
The St. Patrick's Day party continued yesterday at Keltoy Winery from 12 to 5 p.m. Some local four-staters had the opportunity to shop for some new jewelry at a pop-up shop in Galena. It included 3 different stations, a charm bar, clay earrings, and a stack bar. Officials say the event is a way to get a deep dive into different arts and talents.
Get out and support your local businesses. There's a ton of small businesses in the area, and any just opportunity you can get out to help support it is greatly appreciated. And just, you know, giving our time out and coming out and setting up is a way that we feel like we can give back and interact. So
the shop was held at Erickson & Co. Mercantile in Galena, Kansas. Root Coffee House is getting into the season of spring with a spring-inspired painting class. Attendees were able to mingle with other artists while creating a new masterpiece to take home. The class included a canvas and step-by-step instructions.
I love to paint. I love having my paintings on the wall, and this is like so easy. She walks you through step by step. I've not had any experience, so she's been very good to us, and if I need help, she'll step in and help me. And if I don't, that's fine.
The event was $30 per painter. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The state of Vermont is preparing for the worst case scenario during the upcoming solar eclipse next month. Plus, we have a cool and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Beautiful, healthy smile using Invisalign. We want to remind you of our continued low price.
Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
In Consumer Watch this morning, there can be as many as 5 generations in the office right now, and in some cases, workplace attitudes don't align. But there are some takeaways for older workers. Corinne Kafa is in Washington with a look.
When the House overwhelmingly passed a bill that could ban TikTok in the U.S., its first Gen Z member, Maxwell Frost of Florida, was in the spotlight for his age and his no vote.
Yes, it has to do with young people, but taking a step back, I just think it's bad policy.
Frost is 27 years old. His oldest Democratic colleagues are in their 80s. The leader of his caucus, 53. The House, a high-profile example of 5 generations in a workplace. The silent generation, boomers, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z.
We have more generations in the workplace than ever before because people are living and working longer.
That on its own creates workplace challenges, but multi-generation work expert Lindsay Pollock says the COVID-19 pandemic's disruptions added more layers, especially for Gen Z.
They just don't have that experience of being in some of the situations that maybe older generations might take for granted.
Amid talk of their more casual approach to interviews, even to showing up on time, career strategist Julie Bauke says Gen Z may have other priorities because they have so many career options.
So they are less likely to follow the edicts, the declarations of an employer because they see work as a collaborative experience, not as a top-down, you tell me what to do and I do it.
While that might irk coworkers, Bauke says Gen Z workers are taking a firmer stance on work-life balance than older generations.
This has been generationally coming, and it's finally gotten to the point where we have a generation who said, I'm willing to take a stand.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
The National Association of Realtors, which represents more than 1 million realty agents, settled in a landmark antitrust lawsuit Friday, agreeing to pay $418 billion in damages over a 4-year period. But the key here is that it also agreed to eliminate rules on commissions. The standard 5 to 6% commission will no longer be the rule. If the settlement is approved, both buyers and sellers will be able to negotiate fees with realtors. March Madness tips off this week, and along with filling out brackets, millions of Americans are expected to place their bets. The American Gaming Association predicts the NCAA men's and women's tournaments will pull in $2.7 billion through legal sports books. Sports betting is now legal in more than 30 U.S. states and the District of Columbia. And TGI Fridays is offering up some major March Madness deals throughout the finals next month. Starting with 50-cent wings on men's and women's game days, fans whose teams lose can still win big. The dining chain is giving out 6 free boneless wings with the purchase of food or non-alcoholic drinks to fans who show their busted brackets. The state of Vermont is preparing for the worst-case scenario during the upcoming solar eclipse next month. State officials want to make sure people will have cell service in the case of an emergency during this once-in-a-lifetime event. Sophia Thomas talks with state officials on what steps are being taken.
There is a possibility that if someone tried to use a cell phone and there was too many individuals on that tower, that it just wouldn't go through.
With 150,000 people expected to flood Vermont for the eclipse, emergency management worries that cell service could be overwhelmed.
Vermont does not have 100% cell phone coverage before this event. It will not have it during the event. We're trying to make sure that we have as much coverage as possible, but it won't be 100%.
To boost service, emergency management is bringing in satellite trucks and cell towers on wheels, aptly coined COWs. They're specifically for emergency calls. Regardless of your phone carrier, they'll push your call through to 911. Other municipalities are working directly with network operators to employ COWs.
We're going to have 2 of them in the Burlington area strategically located to try to boost service for this weekend.
The area's largest cell carriers say they're confident their 5G coverage is up to the task. In an email statement, AT&T said they've improved their network since 2017's eclipse to accommodate more users. Verizon echoed the sentiment.
We're confident the additional capacity that we've layered into the network over the last few years, especially on our 5G networks, will accommodate any increases in data usage.
Emergency management says they're still determining where to set up the additional cell equipment. Despite this service boost, they encourage viewers to use as little data as possible.
We're working to ensure that they have safety, not that they're necessarily going to be able to stream live shots to their friends in California. It's more about making sure that 911 calls go through, making sure that first responders get through.
The total solar eclipse arrives on April 8th. And that's it for Consumer Watch today. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a quick look from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Got a beautiful sunrise, clear skies out there, but it is cold and it has been a bit breezy this morning. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin looking pretty good as well, but we've had some gusty north winds out there and again a very cold start across the area. We're sitting at 28 in Joplin right now, 28 in Pittsburgh, and those temperatures haven't really moved a lot. That's a sign of things to come. Temperatures not moving too terribly fast today as we warm up into the afternoon. We've got mid-upper 20s for most of us across the area. Still have some low 30s a little further to the south. Kids getting on the bus today. It is going to be cold. Grab that coat, not just a jacket. Sunny, breezy, north winds 5 to 10, occasional gusts to 20, and 26 is going to be the temperature when the bus picks them up. Bus brings them back this afternoon. Still sunny, still breezy. North winds 10 to 15, still occasionally gusting to 20. We're going to be right at 42 degrees by this afternoon, ahead of highs that are not going to be very warm. In fact, we're going to be cooler than yesterday. We're going to talk about our cool temps today, when we're going to warm up, and about some rain chances on the horizon with the full forecast here in just a moment. It's also just about time to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Those are coming up after the break. But first, let's see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, David Begnaud has a story of a retired woman spreading kindness in her community. He's going to dive into this incredible story, her past, and how she is touching people all over the world. We'll talk about the hat as well. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Hi, Traffic 100 Pickups. Come visit my staff and I at Landers Chevrolet of Joplin, or visit us online at landerschevroletofjoplin.com.
All right, time for those Monday birthdays in the 4 states, starting in St. Paul with Evelyn June Carter celebrating birthday number 3 with love from Grandma and Grandpa.
And a happy birthday to Hadley Morgan, who turns 8 years old today from Carthage. Happy birthday, Hadley.
And Sunny Acre celebrating birthday number 10 today. A very happy birthday to you, Sunny.
And a happy birthday to Peyton Head, who's having her sweet 16 birthday from Fort Scott. It says, happy birthday from Mom and Dad, Courtney and Kinley. We're so proud of you. We love you.
And in Carl Junction, Donovan Vantry celebrating birthday number 21. Says, happy birthday, Bubby. We love you so much.
And a happy birthday to Jennifer Jolene, who's turning 35 today. Says, thanks to my family for keeping me around this long. I'm excited for my older years.
And in Parsons, Matt Alloway celebrating birthday number 41. Happy birthday, Matt.
And a happy birthday to Sharon Bartley, turning 44 today from Wyandotte. Says, we love you more. Happy birthday from Mom and Dad.
And in Chinook, James Bentley celebrating birthday number 65. A very happy birthday to you, James.
And a happy birthday to Gary Meadows in Liberal, Missouri, who's turning 68 today. Says, happy birthday, Dad, from your 3 sons, Wes, Jordan, and Joe.
And in Chanute, Cindy Finley celebrating birthday number 69. A very happy birthday to you, Cindy.
And a happy birthday to John Dunnick, who turns 76 today from Columbus.
Also in Columbus, Judy Clugston celebrating birthday number 81. Happy birthday, Judy.
And over to Moorhead, Kansas, a happy birthday to JD Fries. It says, happy birthday all month long from the Over the Hill gang.
All right, and then our very own Courtney Head celebrating another year wiser. She's one of our technical media operators, one of the many folks that works behind the scenes to keep us on the air. A very happy birthday to you, Courtney.
Yes, happy birthday, Courtney. And Chris and Holly Johnson from Columbus are celebrating their 23rd anniversary. Happy anniversary to you both.
All right, and our list continues with John Jones in Frontenac celebrating birthday number 39. Happy birthday, John.
John Haggerty, also celebrating a birthday from Pittsburgh, says, Mom always loved you best.
I think there's a little sibling rivalry going on there. Well, happy birthday, John. And we've got Gene Swain celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Gene.
And last but not least, Jim Nesbitt from Cassville is also celebrating a birthday. It says, happy birthday, love your Kansas family.
All right, now that was a fantastic list of birthdays and anniversaries. I like it. How do they keep celebrating with us, though?
Well, you can submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include pictures and messages and to meet the deadline at the bottom of your screen.
Absolutely, because you want to make sure your birthday or anniversary makes it to air on the right time, the right day. All right, let's take a look at that forecast, shall we? We're going to take a quick look outside. This is our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. Looking pretty good. Clear skies, beautiful sunrise. MoDOT camera 20th and range line also looking pretty good out there. And I knew this wasn't in the right spot. I just had that feeling. KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh also looking pretty good as well. Getting a little more sunshine. Unfortunately, though, it is rather chilly. Our camera 7th and range line. Another great view of that sunrise. Absolutely gorgeous this morning. We just don't have the temperatures to match. 28 in Joplin, feels like 20, and that's with a northwest breeze at around 8 miles an hour. Temperatures around the area still holding out in the mid to upper 20s for most of us and some low 30s down south. So that's the other thing, is if you've been with us all morning, you'll note that these temperatures really haven't moved a lot. And they're going to be relatively slow moving today as well. As we get our morning started, we are looking at sunny skies. Gusty north winds on occasion pushing 20 miles an hour, but look at how slow the temperatures crawl up to eventually about 33 degrees by 11 o'clock this morning. And that is ahead of highs today only in the low to mid 40s. And you can see it's still a very slow climb to get there. And it won't be until the late afternoon hours that we'll actually reach our high temperature just long enough to get there before we'll turn around and start to cool off this evening. Still dealing with occasional northwest wind gusts around 20 miles an hour out there. And then tonight, those winds are going to shift out of the southwest and that's going to start to bring in some warmer temperatures. Unfortunately, not tonight, but by tomorrow. We're having another look at your forecast here in just a moment, as well as the news you need to know. And when we make the transition over to Fox 14, which, by the way, that happens at 7 a.m., we're going to hear of a Wisconsin man who lost the ability to run and is now looking for angel runners to run in his place.
The new $1.99 Sonic Crispy.
And receive medals for his service. We are proud to salute James Logan, a four-state hero.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Root Coffee House is getting into the season of spring with a spring-inspired painting class. Attendees were able to mingle with other artists while creating a new masterpiece to take home. The class included a canvas and step-by-step instructions. Some local four-staters had the opportunity to shop for some new jewelry at a pop-up shop in Galena. It included 3 different stations, a charm bar, clay earrings, and a stack bar. Officials say the event is a way to get a deep dive into different arts and talents. Higher Power Garages in Joplin is putting on classes to teach people how to properly maintain their cars. The class goes over different types of oil and fluid your car uses, as well as the parts of your engine you should be checking on a regular basis. These classes happen every month and they are free of charge, though Higher Power Garage does ask that you register ahead of time before attending. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door, grab the coat. It's going to be cold this morning and pretty chilly this afternoon. Highs low to mid 40s, sunny skies, occasional north winds gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. Clear skies through the evening, still a bit breezy and cold again overnight, back into the low 30s, maybe even some upper 20s. Winds shift out of the southwest tonight, though. That brings us to 70 tomorrow. Sunny and breezy, partly cloudy Wednesday, upper 60s. Evening showers, and that translates into shower chances for the next several days after. And temperatures between the rain, the clouds, and how much sun we get bounce between the mid 50s and the mid 60s. So again, pretty cold today, but otherwise at least our temperatures get better and we get some much needed rain.
Tomorrow looks great.
Yeah, tomorrow's a great day.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making loaded potato roll-ups in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Social media has been wild with speculation about the Princess of Wales' health and whereabouts. Ahead on CBS Mornings, a look at how Britain's royal family is handling, or not, the online speculation over the health of the Princess of Wales.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we get a behind-the-scenes look at a Pittsburgh Community Theater's play as they prepare for showtime.
And Lori Horton joining us back in the studio to finish up those zebra cakes out there. So looking forward to the zebra cakes.
Absolutely.
Great for weather like today where it's really cold. Don't forget, of course, Mega Millions Powerball jackpots, man.
Yeah, you got to go and put your jacket on and go outside and go buy one of those.
That's what makes it worth getting out in the cold. Because, I mean, you may or may not win, but you can't win if you don't play. Just do so responsibly, of course.
Absolutely.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We will be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.
Anchor of the evening news, you should know there are dozens of other women behind the